Hello there, friends. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about another foundational thing that you need to know for updos, and that is some tips and techniques for pinning your updos so you hide your pins, they do not show up, and they're nice and clean and they stay put. So I have 4 different techniques that I talk about for pinning. So we've got foundational pinning, grip pinning, push pinning, and detail pinning. I'm going to be talking about the grip pinning and the push pinning today. So I've already got the start of my updo. I've got a low bun, so I've already done the foundational stuff right here, and I'm going to show you 2 different techniques for doing some pinning. So of course I've sectioned, that's a big rule. I've prepped, also another rule for doing successful updos, and now we're going to move into some pinning, all right? So the first one I'm going to show you is the grip pinning. So I'm pulling this top section down, and I've already kind of worked on her hair a little bit, so we've got some good prep in here. But all grip pinning is when you take a section of hair and you grab the hair with your pin, you're gripping it, and then you're gonna put the pin in when the hair is already into the pin. So the key thing for this is making sure that you don't have too much hair. If you take a big section like this, and I open up my pin and I put the hair in, you can see that this pin is staying really open and this is too much hair. So what happens is when I go to pin it in, it has more of a likelihood to bounce out, and when they shake their head or move around, this part isn't closed enough, so when you pin it in, it's not gripping hard enough, and then this can get loose. So you want to make sure you're taking smaller sections with this technique. So I'm going to divide this in half. And the first thing that you do is kind of manipulate the hair to go where you want. So you're thinking about what direction you want the hair to go. Are you twisting it? Are you curling it? Is it going to be over here? Is it going to be over here? Decide the direction of your hair first, and then decide where you're going to place it. So if I know this is going to be pinned into the bun, then I know that I'm going to put my pin right where I want it to go in. So I will sort of eyeball and measure where it's going to go first, and then decide where my pin goes. So I don't necessarily put the pin in first and then play around with it. I mentally look, visualize, and then use my pin last. So I know I'm going to twist this a little bit and pin it in right here. So that means this is where my bobby pin needs to go. So I open up my bobby pin. Now people have different theories on what works and what doesn't. Some people never open their bobby pins. I'm a bobby pin opener, and for this technique you need to open it. So I'm opening my bobby pin, gripping the hair. So now I've got a hold of it. That's why I call this grip pinning, because I've gripped the hair, and now I can place it into the bun. So I'm just pushing down with the top of my finger. I can feel the other foundational pins that I've got in there, and this just slid right into that. So why this is beneficial: number 1, you didn't use your fingers to put it in, so it's not going to get frizzy. Number 2, you use the pin to guide where your hair is going to go, which helps you just work really clean and neat, and you'll know exactly where that pin is going to land. And then number 2 or 3, you can hold on to the top of this pin. So I have it just secured right at the top of this bun. I can place my finger here and pull out gently on the hair to loosen it. And I know that the hair is secure in here and it's not going to move because I've gripped that entire section of hair first. So that helps you make this really nice, clean texture. Now the other benefit is if you pin like this, which is really going to be an intentional way of pinning, you know exactly where this pin is if you need to take it out to adjust something. Where if you just kind of hold the hair and shove a pin in, you don't always have that sort of neat way to remove a pin if you need to fix something. So again, I'm grabbing a small section of hair. If this seems like too much, you can divide it in half. Decide where I want it to go. Open my pin. Grip the hair. Now you can see it's actually, I've gripped it with the twist in it already, so that helps to maintain the shape of the hair. If you have a curl, you can place it at the bottom of your curl so your curl stays in place, and then I can stick it right into that bun and kind of wiggle it down, and so it stays neat. I can feel that it's hitting some of those other foundational pins in there, so it's going to stay secure. And then if I need to loosen, I can just lightly loosen this so that stays really neat, no frizz, and it's nice and secure. Okay, so that is grip pinning. One other way you can use grip pinning is, now you see how I have this end here? I would do the same thing for this piece here. I think I want it to go in this direction, so I'm gonna need a good amount of loop there. So I'll place this in the end. I've opened it, I've gripped it. Now I can turn this hair and pin it in over here. So then I'm not using my fingers, and I've created this nice loop, and it's nice and neat and clean. And if I need to adjust it, I know exactly where that is, so I can go back through and pull it out. But you can see how you have a lot more direction with this now than when you just use your fingers. So that's grip pinning. Now the second technique I want to show you today is called push pinning. So we're going to pretend that I'm bringing this section back, okay? Now, we don't even need to pretend because I'm actually doing it. It's real life. All right, so I'm bringing this back, pulling it into my updo. So we're going to say I want to put it here. Now, if you simply pin the end, you run the risk of this being loose, of separating and having kind of a gap in there. But you obviously don't want to have a flat pin, right? So what you want to do is hold the hair in the direction you want it to go. Use a little product to lock it in. Just flexible hold hairspray. And then we're going to push this pin in to secure it. So I'm not opening it this time. I'm going directly into the curl. So it's in there. And then I'm going to turn it toward the front of her head and then just push it in. So what this does now is, you can see just a little bit of a tip, and all I need to do is use my fingers to loosen the hair around it to cover that, or you can use the end of a comb. But what this does is it starts to secure this piece across even before I pinned it into the back. So if I let go, it kind of stays. It's not super secure, but it will help to keep that shape and have it look soft and light and airy and not really tight and flat against the head. If the hair is really thick, you want to do this a couple times throughout. So again, you're just going straight toward scalp and then turning and pushing forward. And then you can loosen the hair around it. And that really holds it secure, but it doesn't leave it flat. You have a lot of room for it to be soft and loose. And then you can go ahead and secure the back. So I also use this technique if I just need to move the hair a little bit or add a little extra security anywhere. So if I just wanted this to go up slightly, so say I checked in with the bride in the front and she was like, I like this side, but can you just tighten this a little bit, bring it up? I could take this pin, instead of starting over with this whole section, I could take this pin, go in, lift it just a little bit, and then push up like that. And then you just loosen the hair around it to hide the tip. But that gives you all that extra security. So that is push pinning. You can use the push pinning technique also in the back. So let's just take this out so you can see. See this bun? Now let's say I want this bun to go in tighter. So we like it, but we just want it to be in. You use the same push pinning technique. So I'm not opening my pin. I'm going inward on the bun, and I can feel that it's grabbed some of the hair, and I'm pushing it away from me and then back into the bun. And that just lifted the whole thing up and tightened it in. So those are two really easy ways that you can use bobby pins to secure your updo without using your fingers a lot, without using a lot of product, and it adds security, but it hides those pins. So you just don't want to be afraid to use your comb, use your fingers to hide these pins. Because that was another question that I got, was how do you not let your pins show? So you see how I have just a little bit of a tip right there? What you can do is use the end. Like I said, with my fingers, you can use that, or you can just take your comb and pull the hair out around it to cover that up, and then finish with some hairspray. So I don't know if you ever had that happen where you've done an updo and then someone goes to the mirror, the bride or bridesmaid or whatever, and they come back and they've done one of these. They just come back and you see that. Duh! It's like so cringy to me. It's because there's one little thing off, right? They have one piece that they want back. They want one thing tighter. There's just something that they're looking at on themselves that you didn't see, but they see. And they're just like, oh, I'll just fix it. But that one pin can feel like it ruins your whole updo. So make sure you're checking in with the bride, asking her if there's anything that you want adjusted in the front, your bride, bridesmaid, whoever it is. And then use these techniques to just add a little pin, pull in a little piece a little bit tighter without showing a big ugly pin standing out in your updo, or without having to start over or take things out. You can use these as another tool, as another like extension of your fingers, extension of your hands, to just make little tiny adjustments with the push pinning technique and with that grip pinning technique. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I've got a whole course on this stuff. So if you're interested in learning more, please reach out. You can also check out my website, updocollective.com. Please like and subscribe if you like this. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.